Most of us have fantasized about what we would do if we were wealthy. Purchase a high-end automobile, purchase a mansion with a massive swimming pool, invite our parents to travel to Paris. But what happens when you have more money than you can handle? That was Pablo Escobar's problem for most of his life. Let's take a look at how he decided to spend this money. While it's hard to determine how much money drug lord Pablo Escobar had at the time of his murder in 1993, it's estimated that his net worth was $30 billion, which would make him one of the richest men at the time. In today's dollars, that equates to $59 billion. In his hometown of Colombia, Escobar assisted in the foundation of the Medellin cartel in 1976. The cartel's main source of income was the exportation of cocaine and other illegal substances. Escobar's riches skyrocketed as he began to eliminate rivals and expand operations. He was creative in developing new drug smuggling tactics and was ready to take chances that other leaders would not. One of his more unusual smuggling methods involved concealing cocaine in airplane tires. Pilots might earn up to $500,000 per day depending on how much product they flew. By his late 20s, Escobar had consolidated control of the Medellin cartel. The cartel was extremely successful from the mid-1980s until the early 1990s. At its peak, it earned an estimated $420 million per week, or over $22 billion per year. Medellin facilitated over 80% of the cocaine trade worldwide. Escobar, in particular, monopolized cocaine smuggling to the United States. At one point, he was bringing 15 tons of cocaine into the United States every day, which meant that 4 out of every 5 Americans who used cocaine got it from Medellin's smuggling operation. Despite the fact that his wealth was obtained illegally, Escobar was listed on Forbes' list of foreign billionaires for 7 years in a row, from 1987 to 1993. Pablo Escobar was named the world's 7th richest man in 1989. He had a crazy, extravagant lifestyle as you might expect. He partied hard and possessed a multitude of expensive vehicles, as well as 15 planes, 6 helicopters, and several boats. This in addition to the fleet of vehicles and submarines he purchased for narcotics trafficking. Yes, you heard that correctly. 2 submarines. He also purchased a Learjet, particularly for the purpose of transporting cash. Escobar bought a professional soccer team as well as hundreds of luxurious homes in Colombia and around the world. His main residence was a 7,000-acre estate in the forest near Medellin called Hacienda Nápoles, named after Naples, Italy. Hacienda Nápoles is said to have cost around $63 million to build. The massive main home, built in the form of a Spanish colonial estate, offered every luxury imaginable. There was also a separate, lavish party house, swimming pools, an airport, stables full of pricey horses, a soccer field, tennis courts, a go-kart of course, a bullfighting arena, artificial lakes, a vintage vehicle collection, and life-size dinosaur sculptures made from authentic prehistoric bones were all part of the huge estate. Finally, Hacienda Nápoles featured a private zoo with 200 animals including zebras, hippopotamuses, giraffes, elephants, and lions. Many of the animals were brought into the country on Escobar's drug flights. To top it all off, the entrance road to the Hacienda Nápoles estate included an arch ornamented with a replica of the single-engine Piper Cub airplane that had transported Escobar's first load of cocaine to the United States. By the way, if you want to discover how to make a full-time income from YouTube without showing your face or without even recording any videos, check out our free YouTube training in the description. The training will be free only for a limited time, and there are only a few spots left, so don't miss out. So, moving on, Escobar owned many properties in Florida, including a minimalist villa in an upscale Miami Beach neighborhood. The 8-bedroom mansion featured floor-to-ceiling glass walls, wrap-around terraces, spacious living decks, an outdoor kitchen, an infinity edge pool, and towering palm trees. Even better, the 30,000-square-foot home was located on the waterfront with a stunning view of the downtown Miami Beach cityscape. Then there was Escobar's secret vacation party location, which was built on the calm rural La Isla Grande just off the Colombian coast. A mansion, waterfront apartments, a palm tree courtyard centered around an immense swimming pool, and a helicopter landing pad were all part of this luxurious complex. The estate contained around 300 well-appointed guest rooms. The restrooms were said to have solid gold shower heads. Escobar's most famous property was a prison, but it was unlike any other prison. In 1991, the glitz of Escobar's lifestyle had begun to fade in comparison to the terrible brutality. Several opponents wanted him dead, with some even putting a bounty on his head. He approached the Colombian authorities and reached an agreement after 6 months of secret negotiations. Escobar would go to prison, but he would select where he went. Entering prison would protect Escobar from potential assassins and keep him from being deported to the United States. Escobar constructed and erected his luxury prison, La Catedral, or the Cathedral, high in the mountains of Medellin. Unofficially, La Catedral was dubbed Club Medellin since it resembled a resort rather than a prison. Escobar's bedroom had a revolving circular bed, while his bathroom included a private jacuzzi, a soccer field, a discotheque, a bar, a wide terrace, and an immense swimming pool with an artificial waterfall were all part of the property. La Catedral also featured an office equipped with cell phone lines, radio transmitters, computers, and a fax machine, allowing Escobar to conduct business from the so-called jail. Escobar frequently hosted drug and alcohol-fueled parties while residing at La Catedral. Friends, family, prostitutes, professional soccer players, and other celebrities would frequently pay visits. Away from his wild life, Escobar invested a lot of money on charity activities. He was conscious of his public image and sought to cultivate goodwill. He lavished on churches and hospitals in Medellin and other cities throughout the region. He constructed soccer fields, parks, and roadways. He initiated feeding initiatives as well as reforestation operations. He even created a new community in Medellin, Barrio Escobar, from the ground up, with 1,000 homes for residents who had previously lived in slums. Cynics saw this as Escobar purchasing popular support and constructing a safe haven for drugs, guns, and money. According to several residents, Escobar would periodically appear in the town plaza and distribute money. He also dressed up as Santa Claus and distributed gifts to children. His altruistic efforts earned him the moniker Robin Hood. Because of his public service record, he was elected to Colombia's Congress in 1982. At the time, authorities were only beginning to comprehend the scale of his illicit activities, and the general public was unaware. Escobar was fired from his position when the Minister of Justice criticized him. Later, Escobar reacted by assassinating the minister. He allegedly promised to pay off his country's $10 billion national debt in exchange for immunity from extradition treaties in the late 1980s, but Colombia rejected the offer immediately. Escobar simply squandered a lot of money, despite his opulent lifestyle, ostentatious purchases, and philanthropic contributions. Yes, squandered. It was unmistakably a case of mo money, mo problems. Escobar pulled in so much money that he couldn't launder it quickly enough for months. Because Colombian banks refused to handle his illicit money, he kept part in Swiss accounts. He was spending $2,500 a month on rubber bands for his money all the time. Piles of cash sat idle in warehouses. Escobar was losing 10% or $2.1 billion owing to stored paper money being shredded or destroyed by rats or the environment. Escobar began to hide money all over the place. He dug tunnels and hid tons of shrink-wrapped cash in Colombian farmland fields and caves, as well as stashing cash behind the walls of cartel members' residences. Escobar would frequently kill his hitmen after having them hide money on his behalf. Nobody else would know where the money was hidden this way. The Colombian government decided to relocate Escobar to genuine confinement in 1992 after he killed 3 competitors and buried them on the grounds of La Catedral. When the scheme was discovered, Escobar and his family fled, alternating between numerous safe places. Manuela Escobar, Escobar's daughter, became hypothermic on a chilly winter night while the family was hiding up in the Medellin mountainside. Escobar allegedly burnt $2 million to keep her warm. It was one of the crazy stories associated with this man. Later on, under pressure from authorities and competing gangs, the Medellin cartel began to disintegrate. Escobar was eventually apprehended by the authorities and killed during a gunfight with Colombian National Police in December 1993. Most of his immediate family remain in hiding, fearful of rival gangs such as the Los Pepes and the Cali cartel. The Escobar family was first allowed to buy up an entire bottom of a hostel and have guards guarding them around the timepiece, but this quickly proved to be too precious, especially with no fresh oligarch coming in. Eventually, much of the Escobar family relocated to Argentina, where they lived an ordinary middle-class lifestyle due to financial constraints. Los Pepes and the Cali cartel were able to steal part of Escobar's possessions after his murder. They also pressured Escobar's family to hand over cash. Meanwhile, the Colombian government was able to seize several of Escobar's cash caches, particularly after authorities apprehended members of the Medellin group who revealed the coordinates of certain locations. Hacienda Nápoles, La Catedral, the holiday home of La Isla Grande, and several other Escobar estates were taken by the Colombian government. The bulk of the animals at Hacienda Nápoles were relocated to normal zoos, but 4 hippopotamuses were left behind in one of the lakes due to the cost and difficulty of relocating them. For many years, the authorities overlooked the property. Treasure seekers, encouraged by claims of hidden wealth on the property, tore down some of the main house's walls. The government converted Hacienda Nápoles into a theme park in 2007, complete with life-size dinosaur models, family-friendly hotels, and a water park. Escobar's hippos have multiplied and now number in the hundreds. They are a great tourist attraction, but they are disrupting the local ecosystem and causing harm to surround crops. Authorities are seeking to keep the population under control. La Catedral was likewise unoccupied for many years before inhabitants of the area scavenged it, removing bathtubs, pipes, tiles, and roof components. Fortune hunters demolished walls and excavated the grounds. There was never any money discovered. Benedictine monks have now renovated the site and repurposed it into elderly people's residences. Nature is reclaiming the home of La Isla Grande. It's a destination for daring travelers seeking Instagram fame. A boat voyage to the island is required, followed by a several-hour trek through the jungle. Long before Escobar died in 1987, officials in the United States had taken the majority of his possessions, including the Miami Beach estate. The house was eventually sold and, more recently, demolished in 2016. 2 secret safes were discovered while being razored. One of the safes was stolen before it could be opened. For security, the property owner relocated the other safe to a bank. He has never revealed what was discovered within. People have discovered secret Escobar stashes of cash and gold bars over the years. A farmer discovered 600 million USD concealed in plastic barrels in a field he was digging in 2015. The Colombian government took the funds, as expected. Because Escobar kept most of his money hiding places to himself, many of them remain unidentified. Cash put in Swiss banks is likewise unclaimed, since only Escobar had access to the account numbers. Who knows, if you go exploring in South America's forests, you might come upon an unexplained stockpile of cash, a relic of Escobar's drug business. You better get on the next flight.